This is Mitch Thomas at AES at the Soundtoys booth. We're having fun because we have all these awesome people who are just dropping in. I'm going to allow this gentleman to introduce himself. You are?
Justin Meldal-Johnsen from Los Angeles, California, USA.
Like originally from Los Angeles.
L.A.
Native. You don't see that.
No. I'm sorry, I was lying. I was born in Eugene, Oregon, but I moved here before I was like 1 year old. So, but I'm native. I'm pretty much native. I think so.
That's native.
I think I qualify.
So, what can you tell me some of the things that you have done that would make us ask you to come here? Like, what are the recent projects that you have worked on? Or no, wait. Let me do this. Give us your favorites over the career.
Most people know me as a bass player first, and then about 10 years ago. Years, I don't know what.
They're music years. They don't matter.
About a decade ago, I sort of transitioned into the producer role, without really knowing how to do it or knowing what it meant or knowing the parameters of the gig or anything like that. I just sort of fell into it and decided that it would be fun to try.
I thought that was what a producer was, just kind of
winging it, I guess. No, but I've learned a lot, and I've been able to make some records that have meant things to people and that have been of a quality that I feel good about, and it's been kind of wild, to be able to do that, as well as having a parallel career as a musician going now as well,
So let's name drop a couple of cool folks you played bass for.
Yeah, most people know me with my work with Beck, and I've been playing with him since about 1996. So it's 20 years now, and then you'll appreciate this. Like sometime around 10 years ago, I started sneaking in keyboards into my role with Beck. So now I'm the bassist keyboardist.
Cool.
Yeah. So I thought you would enjoy that.
I love keyboards.
But anyway, so that's been my constant.
Right, that's the one you stuck.
Yeah.
That's all.
And also spent some time with the band Air, and
Great band.
some time with the band 9 Inch Nails. And so those are the three that people most associate my name with, I guess. But I'm also a session player too, and I've done a lot of films and other records for various big folks.
Okay, so we're going to name drop on the other side, production side.
On the production side. I've done the last two records with M83. I did Junk and I did Hurry Up We're Dreaming. And I'm currently in the studio with that band Paramore, and I did their last album, which won a Grammy for Best Rock Song, which is kind of cool.
Grammy.
And Young the Giant, I produced an album, their last album, not their current album. The Naked and Famous from New Zealand.
Great.
Worked with them on their last album.
They're also Soundtoys users.
They're really talented and admittedly very, very good at producing themselves. So I sort of, it's one of those circumstances where as a producer you start to realize that everybody's a producer in a sense. And they are a very good example of being highly adept and skilled at that.
Yeah,
role.
they're very technical dudes.
Yeah.
I love talking to them. So.
Very savvy. I had the good fortune to work with a New York band, School of Seven Bells, who...
We're getting lots of nods out in the crowd.
And I did their final album because Benjamin Curtis, the main music creator in the band, passed away about 2 years ago. And myself and the singer were given the sort of mandate from him to finish the album. And we started the album years ago together, but Alejandra, the singer, and I finished it. And that came out this year, and that's been a real joy and a real weight off the shoulders to have that album finally out in the world. And
means something very different than...
Oh yeah, it's quite special. And that's out, and that came out this year. Let's see, what else?
Did you do Hot Heat? No, it was,
no.
What's the...
Let's see, what else I've worked with. I worked with an English band called Crystal Fighters. I've worked with Well, I'm a Robot was my band. I was the bass player in that band. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the one I was trying to think of, because there was all these bands that I picked up at the
Yeah.
same time that had that kind of
Sure.
80s vibe-ish rock
Yeah,
and roll.
That's my flavor for sure. I think if you were to put sort of a generality on what my tendencies are, I think that's a good example of what they are. It's sort of the post-punk world of music,
post-punk rock thing.
Yeah. And Tegan Sara worked on their last album. So a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, awesome. That's a nice, and it's a nice diverse kind of palette there.
Yeah, maybe to my detriment, maybe to my betterment. I don't know. It's one of those things, like the idea of being diverse, is a double-edged sword. And so sometimes I wonder if that is something that people out in the world may shy away from. But ultimately, really, this may sound like a cliche, but I'm really just trying to work with people that I have a spark with, where there's an initial shared mission that we sort of can embark on together. And things like style or genre tend to fade away for me.
Well, if you have the spark and the creativity thing going together, then you work for the best sound that you can get with them, right?
Yeah, that's right. So. And I tend to work with people that I feel an immediate personal simpatico with.
Yeah. I'm a huge Tegan Sara fan, so.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I love their stuff, and I love the last album. So.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So great list of credits there. So there's obviously a reason why we ask you to sit under this logo, and because occasionally you use a Soundtoys product.
Occasionally. What you talking about?
So what's some of your favorites? Plugins?
The one with the knobs on it.
You like that one? That was our first one.
Love that one.
Super knobby.
You know the knobs?
Yeah. Each one of the knobs.
And the lights.
The blinky ones or the ones that just stay on?
Blinky.
Blinky.
It's nice.
We patented that.
I'm definitely one of those guys that relies on it on a day-to-day basis. It's not part of the palette that you go to occasionally. For me, it's like it's part of my creative process day in and day out.
Yeah, and you've been using a lot of. I mean, I think everybody who's come through here has said Decapitator and Echo Boy and
sure,
and Filter.
Those are actually not my main go-tos.
Wow.
Yeah, so I use them all the time. I use Echo Boy all the time. I use Decapitator all the time. But it goes in sort of cycles. I don't know if other people who have, say, for instance, Soundtoys 5, who are similar to me in that they have this array of tools. Right? I believe there's 19 in there or something like that. 18.
Yes, as of this show,
is that right?
19.
Okay, yeah.
Way to go.
So
he's on top of it.
I think that a lot of people, they're just like Decapitator. But then I remember when, I guess it was about 2 years ago when the effects rack came out. Is that about right?
It's about a year ago, actually, but
Okay.
that's cool. You've used it so much it feels like 2 years.
Yeah, well, I've used it so much that it's become indispensable. It's one of those things that, how initially you get something and sometimes it's not immediate and sometimes it's immediate. That was not an immediate thing for me. I had to get my head around what the functionality of that would be.
Right.
What is the advantage? What are the, and it was insane.
What did you find was the advantage?
DSP.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
So, when I'm have a big session and I'm doing a big mix or whatever, I'm just trying to economize in DSP, and then I realized that this is one instance.
One instance.
And I can't believe how much destruction I can do with that one instance. Nothing comes close in terms of how far you can go with that little of a DSP footprint.
Well, when you put the full power of Soundtoys in one spot.
Yeah, it's crazy. And so for me, the thing became, so that was number one, right? That was the initial spark. Like, oh, okay, there's a DSP savings. But then...
Reordering workflow.
Okay, so that became massively significant to me. So I'm working on a vocal and I want to destroy the sound and I want to do something special for a bridge, and I want to have it be distorted and have some time manipulation and some pitch, some little altar boy format motion automated and all this stuff. And then, I realized that the reordering the the sequence of plugs was the perfect way for me to give myself some new inspiration
Right.
at lightning speed.
Right, because you can, I mean, again, you can pull things in really fast, you can take them out really fast, you can move them around, reorder, so, I mean, instant creativity. That's one of the reasons why we made it, because obviously we've always said combining our plugins together is vital.
It is vital.
And now you can do it right there in one spot and save that whole rack.
The whole rack. And then I've done a thing where if I found a perfect situation, I'm porting it over elsewhere. Other sessions, other projects, whatever, and then going from there. So that was number 2, right? Number 2 was the reordering. Number 3 was speed. So in this case, it's the speed not only of instantiating a plugin, the speed of being able to get it going, but the speed of being able to bypass.
Right.
So on, off, on, off, on, off. Just there's that row of lights, and you're just banging them out, and it's crazy. And
those are the lights that stay on.
Those are the kind of lights that stay on. Thank you. Those are another kind of light that I like. So it's been great. It's been really, really great. But it's one of those things that's funny, someone does something innovative, and sometimes it takes people a minute to get their head around, like, well, what's this going to do for me?
We've run into quite a bit of that, so
but
it's nice that you found it on your own.
Yeah, and I've been evangelizing it in my small way, of course. But thankfully, it's one of those things where it only takes 10 seconds. And then you start to realize those 3 things that I realized, plus maybe some other things that I have not uncovered. I'm curious actually to hear what other people have done that I haven't, in terms of what it's done for them that I haven't been able to, capitalize on,
Yeah, I mean, there's a few little sneaky things in there, and there's a lot of room for growth.
Obviously, there's also less to do when you want to lock to tempo.
Less to do when you want to lock the tempo. When you found that magic chain, now you save it and you go, hey, magic chain in my next session, bam.
Right. Yeah.
So if you're swapping DAWs, if you're using multiple different DAWs like Live, a lot of people use Live.
Yeah, for me, I'm using Live and Pro Tools. So
all your presets are in both. So that's a beautiful thing. So I'm curious. You said that you use the Decapitator, you use Echo Boy, but what's the other things that are actually
Micra Shift.
Micra Shift.
I mean, I use Decapitator as a drum aux, parallel process, and I use Decapitator on bass a lot, and I use Decapitator on vocals a lot. Stereo bus, whatever,
All over the place.
Micra Shift is one of those things that for me, I've been one of those guys that has relied on, say, my Eventide a lot for vocal sounds. And now I have the sound I hear in my head quickly that does that like no other, And it's not particular to the Eventide sound. It's also it's evocative to me of certain other lexicon modulation algorithms that I've used in the past too. But anyway, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It's become like a constant.
Yeah, I mean that was the intent for that guy. We took 3 of the classic Uber Micra Shift sounds that everyone was used to listening to and put them on 3 buttons. They're right there.
Yeah.
So
I'm using that all the time. The other thing that's really become invaluable to me is Little Altar Boy.
Nice.
Wait, is it called Altar Boy or Little Altar Boy?
Little Altar Boy, yeah.
Little Altar Boy, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Anyway, and the main thing that I find the most useful for me is automating the formant and pitch parameters.
Yeah.
And doing it smoothly and extremely, right? So, like for instance, there's that M83 song from the new album called Do It, Try It. It was the first single on the M83 album.
Right.
The new one. And it has all these vocals that have this disembodied, vague, asexual, ambiguous quality to them. And it was all just me moving those parameters around. And,
awesome.
And people are asking me all the time, like, how'd you get that vocal? It's insane, like whatever. And that's all it is, man. It's not really that complex. It's just something I grabbed really quick, and it was very handy and very immediate.
You just beat me to my next question, which was where's a spot you could say this is where you can hear Soundtoys.
Yeah, sure. That's
awesome.
A good one.
Fantastic. Yeah. I don't even have to be here. Just let him do his thing so he can talk. Well, you know what? I really appreciate you coming by to visit with us and hang. I hope you're enjoying it. You said this is your first one ever here.
I've never been to AES. It's very calm. It's very soothing. I don't hear cymbals everywhere. It's different.
Well, thank you for dropping by. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And
Thanks
out.
for everything you do.